Hello there and welcome back to Memory Gamma. Today we're going to continue with what we've been doing. We're going to be moving on to our second Romulan video, and we're going to do the same as we did with the Federation. We are going to go from a full-on combat ship, the Scimitar. We're going to go to a small ship. Specifically, we're going to go to the original series, and we are going to go and have a look at the original Gal Gath'Thong. Now, this is the original Romulan bird of prey from Balance of Terror, the original episode which introduced the Romulans to us in the original series, with Mark Leonard in his Romulan commander mode. Now, this ability is when you initiate attack while cloaked, you can fire your plasma torpedoes without needing a target lock. That's really nice because you can get your plasma torpedoes on the ship. You get 2 weapon slots, and as long as you're cloaked, you don't need target lock, which means you can use your target lock for quality rather than just using it to actually fire the weapon. The maneuver dial for it is pretty nice. It gets its standard 1s green, it gets its 2 straight green, the hard turns are white, the come about is red at 3. It's the sort of standard dial you'll see in a lot of ships in the game. It doesn't come with a text slot, which is the only downside with this, but that can be got around with a couple of methods. So let's look at captains. Now, if we were going to stick with keeping in era, there's less options, but of course this is just what works with this rule. So the first thing that would work is obviously Shinzon. He adds a battle station to the action bar, and while you're cloaked you get to do a free action. Nothing wrong with that. It gives you lots of quality, it gets you the ability to do all of that. However, we used Shinzon with the Scimitar, so let's try and do something different. The actual Romulan commander that comes with this pack is here. So 7 skill, double talent slot, very nice. And as an action, you can fire first, before everybody else. But you do get an Orc's power token. Now, if you're cloaked while you do that, you can still fire the torpedoes, because again, you don't need your target lock for your plasma torpedoes. So he could be very good. Tomalak's a good one. He gives you that tech slot, and then you get a reroll of a dice for each tech upgrade equipped to your ship. You only get 1 though, so you have to load it up with a lot more. So this ship probably not the best ship for that. Other ones, Jarok, more of a support ship. He locks down people's actions. Toreth is a good solid one. Just you convert a hit into a crit every time you attack. Passive quality, passive extra damage. It doesn't make you do more damage. It just makes the damage that you do more dangerous. Sailor's a nice one. But Laris. So if you do a sensor echo action this game round, you get a battle station sitting beside your ship, and the ship rolls +1 attack dice this game round. Now, that is nice. It requires you to sensor echo. But if you go action cloak, you can then next round action sensor echo, and as long as you're cloaked, you don't need the target to fire your torpedoes. So you can do this without using the Romulan cloaking device. I'm going to try and avoid using the same cards as I used in the Scimitar, because I don't want all of my Romulan videos just to be Romulan cloaking device. So we go Laris, and of course we're going to want some plasma torpedoes, because otherwise you don't bring this ship. Now, there are several different versions. There is this one which comes from Alliance, which is a plasma torpedo. It says heavy plasma torpedo, but it counts as a plasma torpedo, so the rule triggers. It doesn't require target lock anyway, however, so less effective. But this is nice for things, if the target's got a printed value of 0, all of your hits become crits. So it's a nice thing, but there's very few things that get 0 as to start with. Now, that is printed value 0, so even if they've boosted it up, that still counts. So the Borg ships, so Borg cubes, spheres, diamonds, Zindi weapon 0, DS9 and Terok Nor, the really huge things, oversized Borg cube, Dominion battle ships, 0 agility. Anything with 0 agility on the card, this works against. However, let's go through some other ones. Now, most plasma torpedoes are range 1 to 2. You're looking at 4 or 5 dice, and either a target lock, and either target lock and time tokens, or target lock and disable. and you get to reroll your blank results. Now, this one is quite nice because this one is unique in the fact that it's range 1 to 3. You lose a dice over the rest of them. So the other ones at the top here, 5 dice. These are 4 dice in range 1 to 3, but you get no built-in rerolls. Now, if we don't really need that because you have built-in rerolls with the other torpedoes, blank rerolls, and you've got a battle stations token if you've sensor record thanks to Laris, so that's pretty good quality. So if we go up and we pick these ones, we want the time tokens. Here we go. Time token torpedoes, 5 dice, range 1 to 2. While you're cloaked, you just 3 time tokens, and you can reroll all of the blank results. And then you can convert all the rest of them with battle stations. Nice. Now we get some crew. Okay, so we don't really want actions because obviously you're going to be requiring doing an action as a sensor echo. Unless, of course, the action on one of these guys gives us a sensor echo. So, Romulan Officer is a nice one. If you attack while cloaked, you can add 2 dice, but you don't get defense dice. So he's actually also from this original pack. Meant to be that you can fire the torpedoes at like 6 or even 7 dice, but you don't get any defense dice, so you really need to guarantee that you kill them with that shot. Nigil gets a tech slot, but it has to be a Romulan tech, but his action's a little bit lackluster, and he's quite expensive. Nanklus, always funny, stops them from rolling defense dice. You discard him, pick a ship, and they get an extra attack dice, but they can't roll defense dice. So you can do that with the plasma torpedoes. You rock up, you go boom, and whatever you roll, you're hitting them. They can still cancel it with tokens and with bonus cancellations, but no defense dice rolled. Subcommander. Subcommander's a nice one for extra durability because it just, every time you do a move that doesn't crash you into something and isn't a red maneuver, you get an evade token. Tactical Officer, when you attack when you're outside their firing arc, you get to add a hit. Nice. Romulan Hijackers. Now, Romulan Hijackers is a very nice upgrade, but it works best in a faction mixing situation because it gets rid of faction penalties and makes everything cheaper. So you can pack a lot of stuff onto onto a ship hijacked by Romulans. Other ones, the Centurion. When something gets discarded, captain or crew, you can discard him instead. Useful again for things like Romulan Officer or Nanklus. You can get 2 uses of Nanklus out of that. Here is Turul. Now this is the original version of Turul. She adds a tech slot to your ship, and when you defend, you can roll 3 less dice and get 1 automatic evade. Now, this is a trade-off. On average, you get a normal defense dice has got 8 sides and 3 of them are evade, so 3 and 8 chance. So on average, every 3 defense dice you roll will net 1 evade. So what Turul does is she removes the element of random chance and just gives you that fixed average set result. So 3 dice equals 1 evade. Now obviously, rolling 3 dice, it is possible to roll 2 or even 3 evades. It's also possible to roll 2 or even 3 blanks. So it's not quite sort of gambling on the dice, because what you're doing is you're eliminating the gamble of dice rolling and giving yourself fixed defense. However, it is 3 dice and one extra evade. Now it is also a may, so it only works once per round. It's not every time you defend. It's a during the roll defense dice step you may choose. So you can make that choice at the time. If they haven't got very many hits, because obviously they've already rolled their attack and modified them. If they've got very few damage got through, then that might be a nice way of just guaranteeing you evade the dice rather than risking, blanking out and rolling your 6 or 7 dice and getting nothing. Vendorian Spy. Vendorian Spy is a nice one, but it requires a friendly ship. Bridge Officer. Now, Bridge Officer, you can put 1 less time token on weapon upgrades, which means your plasma torpedoes regenerate every other turn. It's a nice passive one and just means you can fire them more frequently. So we'll go to a weapon upgrade. Now, a second weapon upgrade slot. Now, these could be another set of plasma torpedoes, and if actually you were to bring 2 sets of this plasma torpedo, you can fire them in sequence, and you would be able to fire one every single round. Because you'd fire one, you'd get 2 time tokens on it, thanks to Bridge Officer. End of the turn, pardon me, it would reset to 1 time token, and then next round, you fire the second set, becomes 2, and in the end phase, it goes down to that. 1 on the second one, 0 on the first one. So you are, with that and those 2, you can fire them in sequence and have a shot every single turn. That's not a bad thing, and actually that might be a really good thing to do. It just allows you to circle fire. It means that you can, provided you're in the forward firing arc, you've got something that can shoot. Now, for a talent, there is some different options. So, Borg Alliance is fun. It adds a Borg slot and gives you access to some Borg tech. Not hugely brilliant. Got a lot of the best ones are for defense, and this is very much an attacking ship. Now, double back is an interesting one. After performing the sensor echo, you can back up. Now, if you're using your action to sensor echo most times, then that's something nice. But of course, with this, you have no way of remaining cloaked because you've got no tech slot. Because you haven't got an advanced cloaking or anything built in for remaining cloaked. So you're looking at having to recloak and then resensor echo. So it's going to take you several turns to reload. There is ways around that. We can put in the minimal retrofit into there. And then in the tech, we can go advanced cloaking. There you are. Attacking while cloaked. If you haven't got an Aux power token, you can Aux power token yourself to not flip. However, that does limit you then to doing only green maneuvers on the following round. So again, it limits your total maneuverability. Swings and swings. But we could drop the sub commander at that point, and then we've got some other options for crew that can make us do additional maneuvers if we want to. A good one is Romulan Pilot. Allows you to, as a free action, you get a scan token and do a green maneuver. It allows you to move around a little bit extra. Or Helmsman. For the activation phase, perform a green maneuver. Every 2 time tokens, so every other round. That's probably a really good one, because it means that you can take the Aux power token on the turn you fire. Next round, you can do your green maneuver in the activate. You can program in a white maneuver and Helmsman to do a green. And then when it comes to check the power strain step, you go, have you done a green maneuver? Yes. Congratulations. You can get rid of your Aux power token. Or even just double tap greens allows you some tight turns. It just gives you more maneuverability. If we go back to Elite Talent. So your said double back is a nice one. It gives you even more flexibility in where you put the ship when it's finished. Reverse course, instead of doing what you normally do, you can back up to 1 or 2, which is a white maneuver, so you can still act. Independent, but I think we used that last time. It gives you conversions, which is nice, but again, we want to try and use new things. You've got, now fire everything is, you can attack with prime weapon. If you deal, or even another weapon. So you could, when attacking, you could fire a set of plasma torpedoes. If you deal no damage, or the attack gets cancelled, so if you manage to do really badly on the dice, they spend all their tokens and everything, you go, fair enough, disable fire everything. You may make another attack with another weapon upgrade card equipped to this ship against the same target. And having 2 sets of plasma torpedoes means you could fire the first one, the attack gets cancelled with an interphase, or someone goes Ibex Dynasty or Torres Yal, or whatever they've got, or they just roll really well and evade everything. You go, fair enough. Second set, and then volley torpedoes. So that's a really nice combination. It gives you some extra bits. Now, it gives you lots of extra firepower and it allows you to fire both of them. Now, it would mean that the following round, both of them are on 1 time token, so you would have to not be firing, or at least firing on your primary. But the following round is probably going to be getting out of it. And you would have to also decloak, because you would not be able to trigger advanced cloaking on both attacks. So, It swings and roundabouts, but it's a nice way of being able to rapid fire. If the first attack doesn't kill them, if the first attack doesn't do anything, the second attack might do. Now, you have got an admiral slot. The Romulan admirals, there's a nice few. Some of them simple ones, like Heron, just gives you a +1 skill for 1 point. Now, Liviana Sharvanak. She's a nice admiral. If you have the cloak action in your action bar, you can cloak and then immediately do another action. So you can bring her, and then she allows you to... You fired last round, you've decloaked. You go action cloak, and then immediately free action sensor echo thanks to Liviana, which will then trigger Laris with the sensor echo. You've got a battle station token and a bonus dice. And she gives you another talent slot, which you can use for some quality bonus. I mean, you have got a battle stations token, so you have got some nice quality. But ambush tactics is a nice one. It's 3 time tokens to convert 3 battle stations into hits. You could have opportunistic, which gives you a simple blank or battle station conversion if you fire at someone that's got a lower captain skill than you. You're skill 8 with this, so possible, not guaranteed though. Or something simple like weapon system targeting allows you to pick out a weapons failure or weapons malfunction or a munitions failure, which either kills a weapon card or knocks off a point of primary weapon off of the enemy ship. Or Massacre. If you crit the enemy hull, you discard Massacre to do an additional 1 damage, which means it might make the difference between just injuring and killing someone. Strike from the Shadows. Now that is a way you could double tap with the advanced cloaking. So you could fire, take an Orc's power token thanks to advanced cloaking and not decloak. That attack gets cancelled and doesn't do anything. Then you go second plasma torpedoes with fire everything. And because you're cloaked and attacking, you can discard Strike from the Shadows to reflip the token back to its green side. So that will enable you to double fire and remain cloaked. So that's a sort of a big circular combo that basically allows you to rotate double fire the plasma torpedoes. And then next round you could Helmsman to get out of there really, really quickly. And you should be, since you'll be still cloaked, you'll be able to sensor echo to get out of the way or evade if you're going to get shot. So there's a lot of bonusy bits you could do there. Now, we haven't talked about ambassadors in any of these videos, but I'm going to go into a separate video and do about ambassadors, because several of them are very potent, several of them are a bit mid. So, this is a build for the Gal Gath'Thong, as we see. So, it's very much geared around plasma torpedoes. There are several ways you can build this ship. Some people build it much more manoeuvrable with a single set of with plasmas and the intent of manoeuvring around behind people, or double or even triple move, or free sensor echoes with a Romulan cloaking device. But I was trying to go somewhere slightly different with it. So, I think Liviana and Laris is a good combo, because it means that even if you're not cloaked at the start of the turn, you can be cloaked and then sensor echoed with him afterwards. Fire Everything's a good shout with the double torpedoes, because you can make 2 attacks, especially if someone's got such very, very good defense dice rolls, or lots of defense dice. And another point, the Gal Gath'Thong is actually a very good cloaked ship hunter, because while it's cloaked, you don't need a target lock to fire your plasma torpedoes. You can fire them at cloaked ships that would normally be impossible to target lock. So if someone puts the scimitar down, this is not a bad ship to go up against it. I mean, you're probably going to get outskilled, and you're looking at some luck on the defences to survive, but you've got a battle stations token from Laris and sensor echoes, which you can use in defence, and you can still open fire. It gives you a reasonable chance of being able to put something down. So, thank you very much. As I said, if you have got any suggestions, ideas, anything like that, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I will see you next time.